Good morning, Rockstars. It's your boy Mike here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today what we're going to be talking about is how a good listener doesn't listen to hear, he listens to understand. Don't just listen to respond. What you should be doing is that you should be asking good questions that help you understand the person on the other side. A bad listener hears what the other person is saying, but they're doing that just so they can tailor their reply, okay? Not necessarily understanding where the other person is coming from or what exactly they're trying to tell them. This can all sound pretty vague, so I want to give you guys an example. Let's say you have a partner and they say, I don't like how you tell me things, I feel like you're judging me. It has happened to me, I'm sure it has happened to a lot of you. And what I normally would respond, and I have done in the past, is say something like, I wasn't judging you, it was just a suggestion. So I wasn't listening in that case. Regardless of my experience, she felt like I was judging her, and that doesn't really lead to anything productive because that conflict is not resolved. So whether that's going to appear in 2 weeks, 5 days, a month, it will appear again. And if the conflict is not resolved and you haven't learned anything from that situation, then you're bound to repeat the same mistake. So I was focusing on my own personal experiences rather than trying to understand her and why that made her feel the way it did. There are questions that would be much better as a response to that situation. So as an example, what makes you feel like I was judging you? Was it what I said or how I said it? Is there a better way for me to make suggestions, or would you like me to not make suggestions at all? Now, there's one thing that you really need to be careful with those kinds of questions is the tone of voice that you're using and the attitude that you're putting into them, because they really can come across as passive-aggressive and achieve exactly the opposite of what you want. So by asking those questions, what you really aim to understand is how they think and what makes them think the way they do, and what is important to that person and how they want you to give it to them. Another more formal example would be an interview, and I've done quite a few interviews, as I'm sure most of you have or you will. One of the questions that I normally come across in my interviews has been, how do you expect to increase the revenue of the company in the next 3-4 months? And how I approach this, a mistake that I used to do, and you don't have to now that you're watching the video, is that I used to give a general answer, as in something that another 1,000 candidates before me have said the exact same things. So I wasn't listening to understand, I was listening to answer. What a good listener would have done is they would have unpacked the question. And if you think about it, what the interviewer really wants to know is, can this person do the job that I'm interviewing him for? So what you would do is you would ask the person an extra question to really understand what they're looking for. So the way I would approach it would be, what are the current difficulties that you have within the company now? Now, what this does is it gives you the exact information you need to give them a very direct answer to what they're looking for. There you have it, guys. A good listener listens to understand deeply and completely. So I hope this video is going to be useful for you. Make sure to practice. Practice makes perfect. And I'm sure that in the future, your conversations will be so much better and they will be so much more meaningful.